Bring in Andy McCarthy, former assistant U.S. attorney and Fox News contributor, to join us now. First, I want to start talking about Biden's basic sparing the lives of multiple murderers today, commuting sentences for so many different federal death penalty suspects that were all convicted in a fair court of law, who no longer now have to carry out their ultimate sacrifice or for justice to be served for these individuals. What do you make of Biden's clemency calls?
I think it's yet another abuse of the pardon power. I think it's interesting, Julie, that he didn't give commutations on the death penalty to the 3 death penalty or death row inmates who were dealt with by the Biden Justice Department and the Obama Biden Justice Department. So with respect to those family members and the grief and pain they're going through, they couldn't look them in the eye and say our progressive principles don't allow us to go forward with the death penalty here. But he wiped the slate clean on everyone else. And he did it in a way that is a categorical change of the law that's for Congress to make. It's an abuse of the pardon power to use it that way.
I want to take a look at some of the death row inmates whose sentences Biden actually commuted, because it's really disgusting. Thomas Sanders, he brutally kidnapped and murdered a 12-year-old girl, Lexis Roberts, in the fall of 2010. Apparently, Biden believes this man deserves to live. Meanwhile, the family of the 12-year-old girl has lost their daughter and now has to deal with justice not being served there. Jorge Avila Torres sexually assaulted and stabbed 2 girls, Laura Hobbs, just 8 years old, Crystal Tobias, age 9 at the time of her death, stabbed both these girls to death in 2005. He also strangled a naval officer, Amanda Snell, age 20, 4 years later. He now gets to live. Anthony Battle, another one among those sentences that were commuted, brutally murdered an Atlanta prison guard with a hammer in 1994. Now, this is an example of Joe Biden, who basically states that unless you've been charged with terrorism charges, then you're allowed to live. I mean, that's kind of how he looks at this. This is terrorism. You're killing minors. If that's not terrorism, I don't know what is to parents.
Well, look, on a certain human level, all murder, brutal murder, is terrorism in the sense that it's terrorizing. That doesn't make it terrorism,
of course,
as a matter of law. What I think this is selective moral preening. I mean, last week, the Biden Justice Department filed death charges against somebody who I don't think that is even a terrorism case. It's a grisly murder, but they themselves filed death penalty charges. Now, today, he's wiping the slate clean on death penalty charges that were brought by other administrations and other justice departments, but not in cases where he and his Justice Department actually had to deal with the victims and obviously the families of the victims of these brutal homicides.
Yeah, in his statement, he said that these commutations are consistent with the moratorium my administration has imposed on federal executions in cases other than terrorism, hate-motivated mass murder. Okay, so multiple murders is not considered a mass murder.